What's going on, guys? So you all probably know by now that I am a huge fan of cycling. In front of me are two of my Lectric e-bikes. Now, both of these were sent to me for review and evaluation, and I actually kind of modified them by putting these little buckets on the back, or these little containers on the back, and use these as utility bikes all around the property. So these are really handy, especially when something's delivered up by the front gate and I need to go get it, and I use these things all the time. I kind of consider them the workhorse of the property. Over here, I have my Cannondale e-bike and my Santa Cruz mountain bike. These are both really, really high-end bicycles. I've done videos on both of them. This thing is absolutely insane, and this one right here is a non-electric version of a mountain bike, and that thing is absolutely insane as well. But in front of me, these two boxes just arrived, and these are from the folks over at Lectric, because they have a new series of bike, or not really a new series, but a new evolution of one of their most popular bikes that just recently came out, and they sent me a couple of them. So let's take a look at these. Hang tight. I'll be right back. So first of all, from a packing perspective, I gotta say they do an incredible job packing an e-bike into a box that's relatively small. The overall weight of the box, according to the sticker, is 92 pounds. So I would say there's probably about 10 to 15 pounds just worth of packing material, probably more than that. The material they use is actually a triple walled box, and then it's doubled up in a lot of areas, but there's packing material that has nothing in it and a lot of spaces just to act as kind of a bumper so things don't jostle around. You have your accessories right here, which is probably going to include your charger and your pedals, your handlebars right here, and then all sorts of packing material wrapped around everything. So again, they do a good job of really packaging these so when you get them, it's least likely to have any type of damage. And that's probably one of the reasons why this is America's best-selling e-bike, because the process of getting a big, bulky e-bike to you, believe it or not, is not really simple. And being able to pack it in a way that when you get it, it's actually functional, makes people want to return and buy the next one, because they know that, you know, the worst thing that can happen with a bike when it gets delivered to you is that something is bent or damaged, because then you got to replace it, you got to send it back. It's just a nightmare. When they send these super expensive ones out to you, they're sent in these really, really large boxes, and believe it or not, it's a nightmare to get them out, and part of the process of getting riding is actually getting the bike assembled. So I can definitely commend them on this. If I see any damage or anything like that, I'll definitely let you know, though. Okay, so we have the bike out of the box. We have it unwrapped, and like I said, there's probably about 10 to 15 pounds at least of packing material. Part of it's because of what they do, like here, where they actually stack multiple pieces of cardboard or packing material in here into just one small area to prevent something from being damaged. And they do that quite a bit, even something like that. These things are actually pretty heavy because they carry some weight with them, and that stuff adds up pretty dang quickly. And if you notice, the packing materials are almost the same size as the actual bike itself. So it's packaged well is what I'm trying to say. And full disclosure, so the folks over at Lectric actually invited me out to an event that they did. I believe it was either in Flagstaff or Scottsdale. I think it was in Flagstaff, New Mexico, to go on a ride when this thing first came out as part of the reveal, but scheduling conflicts made that impossible, and I wasn't able to go out there. So they really wanted me to feel the difference between, let's say, this generation and the previous generation right there. And as much as some of you all may kind of be burnt out on electric bike content, the reality here is Lectric is probably the best value when it comes to an e-bike you can buy. I'm just saying that flat out, because what they give you, the features built into these bikes, the reliability, all of that is generally several steps above anybody else competing in this space at that price. Not even kidding you. If you're looking for like a full-blown like e-mountain bike, this is not the company you're really going to buy from. These are not made for extreme uphill, downhill races. These are not made for going down Whistler. These are not made for crazy, crazy terrains. They're made as kind of a trail bike or a regular road bike, but with a ton of really, really good features that you would usually only see on regular bikes that cost this much, not e-bikes. So the fact that they have a motor, the fact that they have a huge battery, and the fact that they have all the features built into them, that's really the value of an electric bike. Anyways, done talking. Let's get this thing unfolded and put together. Okay, so I just timed myself to see from the point of that last shot that you just saw where the bike's all folded up to where I'm at now, how long it took. It took me exactly 2 minutes to get the bike completely unfolded, the seat post in place or tightened up, the handlebars in place, connecting the screen, plugging in both connections there, and now all I need to do is put these pedals in. And the reason why I stopped here is because I wanted to show you this design. It's a very unique design that I don't think I've seen really on any other bike except maybe this one right here, where they essentially just snap into place. You don't have to really do anything. It's just like, it's a quick release. Look at that. That is absolutely awesome. And this, again, is just something you typically don't see. And I can guarantee you, had they gone to the normal type that's threaded in, where you have to use the right type of key to get this thing to go in the right way and reversed on the other side, it would have saved them a lot of money. But again, it just seems as if the folks at Lectric are loading their bikes up with technology and features, but not necessarily raising the price when they do it. I mean, that is absolutely awesome. I love that feature. And these are nice aluminum pedals. They have nice little pegs in them. Just a really, really good looking setup. And to be honest with you, I'm kind of blown away with how quickly I put this thing together. So when everything's said and done, maybe 4 minutes. But if I were going to do everything off camera, just, you know, by myself getting this thing ready to ride, I could have this whole thing put together in less than 3 minutes. That's absolutely insane. The biggest challenge you're really going to have is just getting all this stuff off of the bike that protects it during shipment. But yeah, we have it assembled now. I'm trying to think. The only other thing that's in the boxes over here would be the charger. This right here, which is a lock that they sent. It's a folding lock. I've never actually used it. They've sent me a couple of those before, but I've never actually tried them. And again, you have your charger right here. And that's everything that's in the box. So, super impressed with the fact that you can get this thing up and going probably in a total of maybe 15 minutes total. Unpacking it, unwrapping it, and getting it unfolded, put together, and ready to ride. The only thing I think I need to do is adjust this right here, because this piece right here folds down, and then you snap the screen into it, and it's a little loose. So, just need to get a couple little Allen keys and get that thing tightened up. I quickly tightened that up. I probably could have centered it actually with a 6mm Allen key. I have all sorts of bike parts and tools, so this is pretty easy for me. You might want to go pick you up a cheap set of them at your local bike shop or Walmart or somewhere, but it's always good to have some general bike tools because you will inevitably need them at some point, unless you just always plan on taking the bike to the shop and having them do the work, which is not a bad idea either. Okay, so now that we are kind of in a position where we can get going, you have a key right here that lets you lock the battery pack in place. Then you have this flap, which exposes your charging port, as well as an on-off button up here. So if you're going to be riding the bike, you're definitely going to want to switch the battery on. Then from up top here, you have your controls. Just hold down the power button, and everything should come on. Definitely has a nicer display than the previous generation. This is a much higher resolution display. You see we already have 70% charge. Love the fact that I'm seeing hydraulic disc brakes on here. Again, a big difference between this and a lot of other bikes. And even if you look at the previous generation over here, you can see that these are cable-driven disc brakes. And that is a huge, huge step up to go to hydraulic disc brakes. So having that on here is just another reason why this is such a big leap over the previous generation. And this is called the XP4. And over here, I can turn this one on too so you can see what the display looks like. Again, much different display. The evolutionary difference between this display and this display are pretty crazy. So let's quickly go over a few differences between these two bikes and why evolutionarily you may want to switch from the XP3 to the new XP4. Or if you've been holding off, now's a really, really good time to get the XP4. First of all, from a drivetrain and gearing perspective, the XP3 had a 7-speed, lower-end tourney derailleur in the back, as well as a 8 to 28 tooth cassette back here. Basically, your gearing, how easy or hard it is to pedal at certain speeds. On the XP4, it now gets the Shimano 8-speed Atlas, which is a much higher end derailleur back here, plus a broader range with an 11 through 32 tooth cassette here in the back, which is going to be a lot better at different speeds for shifting. One of the big ones is the fact that you can actually ride at full speed and still pedal and not feel as if the pedals are just free spinning. A big one's the battery range as well. So on the XP3, it had roughly a 45-mile battery range. If this one, the base model, gets a 50-mile range, or if you get the 750-watt version of it, it has a 17.5 amp hour up to approximately 85-mile range with this bike. So the range that you can ride on the XP4 has significantly been improved over the XP3. The XP4 also uses what they call M24 Stealth Tech, which makes it quieter when you're riding it. The charging speed on the XP4 is 60% quicker than the XP3, since the XP3 lacks fast charging, whereas you get 5 amp fast charging with the XP4. You have the integrated light up front, which is actually the same. I don't think there's any real difference there. But the big difference, again, is going to be this 3.5-inch detachable display that you get on the XP4 that's just not available on the XP3. This one is, again, a much older style display. Now, another kind of cool thing, so this integrated rack on the back of the XP4 can actually handle up to 150 pounds, which means it's compatible with like cargo carriers and child seats, whereas the back rack on this one is rated to roughly 75 pounds, which is still more than enough, I think, for most people's applications. Now, the one negative is the fact that the bike actually weighs more. So this bike weighs between, let's say, 69 and 71 pounds, whereas this bike weighs about 64 pounds. So this bike is going to be about 5 pounds lighter than the new XP4. Pricing-wise, the price really hasn't changed. That's kind of the cool thing about it, is that this bike starts at $1,000, $999, which is the same price that the XP3 started at, and that gives you a tremendous amount of value for the upgrades you get. I mean, really, they give you a ton of upgrades, and the value here can't be beat. I'm just being 100% clear and honest with you. If you're looking for an e-bike, and you're looking for this type of e-bike, especially one that can fold, folding doesn't mean it's lighter. Folding just means it takes up less space. Well, Lectric is the brand you probably want to look at, because for the price, they're continuously evolving and they're providing absolutely the best bang for the buck. And probably the single biggest perk is the fact that the new XP4 uses a torque sensor, which is a lot more efficient versus the cadence sensor that the 3 had. So from a pedaling perspective, this one's going to be a lot more sensitive, but a lot more accurate in terms of engaging the motor whenever you start pedaling. And that's going to be really, really big for a lot of folks who want to evolve from maybe an XP3 or a lower end e-bike into this new XP4, which again gives you a lot of really, really mid to high end features that you just don't expect on this price point of bike, to be honest with you. When it comes to biking, components matter. Equipment matters, disc brakes matter, derailleur matters. The quality of the components absolutely matter, because those components determine the longevity, the reliability, and the ease of using and servicing your bike. At the end of the day, that's what matters. You can have a $300 frame of a bike loaded up with $10,000 worth of components and have a bike that performs pretty dang well. And I think Berm Peak, which is hosted by Seth, he has proven that. He took a Walmart frame, put like $8,000 worth of components on it, and he proved that you can take a relatively low-end frame, load it up with high-end components, and have one heck of a bike. And that's something you should definitely think about when you're shopping for bikes. It's not just about the overall look, it's about the components. But we're going to take this thing for a quick ride and see what it's all about. Okay, so this right here is an example of kind of an extreme yet budget e-mountain bike. I have a cool little seat for my daughter so she can sit with me. This thing is about $4,500 whenever you buy it, and I've probably increased the value of this to about $6,000 because of all the stuff I've added onto it. And again, when we think about value, this is cool if you want to go a little bit more extreme off-roading, you want to do some crazy stuff with a high-end rock shock front fork, has a radon center shock there as well, and it has a Banfang like 1,000-watt motor on it. So this, again, designed for a different application, but you're going to pay 4 to 5 times more than you would for this Lectric XP4. Now, we're going to take this bike out and see what it's all about. Again, you're not going to have near the suspension travel as you would with something like this. There's no rear suspension on it at all, but made for a different purpose. And we're going to see how fun this thing is to ride. Okay, let's go see how this thing does. That front suspension is nice. So that was fun. It is a very quick bike. The hydraulic disc brakes feel great. The front suspension fork feels very plush. I love the menu option. I got to tighten this up a little bit because it is loose, and it's just going to be another little adjustment screw down there. This is a fun bike to ride. You definitely know you don't have rear suspension, but it does have a nice suspension seat post here, which does take some of the harshness out of the big bumps when you hit it. But it feels really solid. I mean, really, really solid and well put together. The shifting is really nice. Having that 7-speed Atlas with the 7-speed cassette in the back definitely makes a difference, because you don't feel as if the pedals are just kind of free spinning even when you're in the fastest gear, which is really, really a good thing. It basically lets you go as fast as a bike can go, but still feel like you're pedaling and getting exercise, which is especially going to be nice when you're going on longer trips and you want it to, again, feel like you're getting a good workout even though you're going for an extended trip. I love this thing. It is really nice. $1,000. It is a absolute bargain. It's a value play, and quite frankly, you're not going to find anything else out on the market that can compete directly against this value for value, component for component, for the same price. Definitely check it out. I'm going to throw a link in the description of this video, and this is something, again, if you're looking for an e-bike, you should definitely pick this thing up if this is the type of bike you're looking for. If you're looking for an extreme e-mountain bike, you're not going to want this. You're going to want something designed for that. That said, we're going to have more content on this because I have a second one, and my wife is definitely going to want to know how that one rides and see if it's the right size for her, given the fact that she's kind of short in stature. And we'll be back with more content on electric e-bikes in a future video. Guys, if you haven't had a chance, please take a moment, subscribe to the channel, check it out in the description of this video, and we'll talk to you again very soon.